Hello, my friends. How are we doing today? I hope you all are doing very well. Well, it's time for another Arcfall video. It's a new month, new possibilities, new bugs. We shall see. This is Arcfall, so this is the Arcfall video, so let's have a look at it. Let's jump into it. I'll give you my initial thoughts, going through it, some of the benefits. I think they're kind of cool. There's a lot of content, so if you're excuse me, if you're one of those players that doesn't like a long video, I'm sorry, but there's a lot to cover, so we'll try and cover it in a decent amount of time. But for you others who like my thoughts, kind of more details, I want to go into some of that too, so we'll do the best we can here for both, if you fit into either camp there. First off, I did want to say it just blows my mind how quickly time goes, but it seems like it's been about since last year, September, when I started making YouTube videos. So it's been about a year. So really cool that we're hitting that anniversary. So if you are one of the first people to subscribe, feel free to hit a comment below. Tell me how long you've been a subscriber. I'd love to hear from you, but just amazing. So thank you so much for supporting me. On that note, feel free to hit that subscribe button so you know when I release new content. Truly appreciate each and every one of you, however you support me. Also, I've been streaming on Twitch. That's been a lot of fun to get to know you. A little bit more interactive than me just making videos and answering your questions. But love to help players as I have time, as I'm able to do that. So anyways, thank you so much. This has been really a lot of fun, and I try to make it fun and informative, but also try to stand up for the players in my videos, hence because the players matter. That is my kind of slogan I've come up with. Want to try and stand up for the players as much as I can. To make this fair, because at the end of the day, Sculpey does have to make money. There's a debate on do they make enough money and how much are they trying to screw over the whales and those spending money, but that's for another video. But let's hop into it. Why? Because the players matter. All right, here we are, everyone. Let's hop right into it. Let's read through the notes. I'll read a little bit of this, trying to add some of my own thoughts and a couple of things I want to talk about in game that I think are kind of already in game, but that where some of the new stuff does add to it. So we're update 70, patch notes, symbiosis part 1. So we have more that's coming. So here we have mirror universe type stuff, it looks like to me. So we've got various things that we will talk about. And there's Beck. We won't watch that video in this one. But the first thing it talks about is this Boldly Go event. So let me scroll back to the top here. Apologize. So new Boldly Go event. Greetings, Commander. This meta event is a new type of event that rewards players based upon their participation in daily activities. So first thing I have to say this. Last month, we had this Alliance tournament that was supposed to be so much better than it was. Hopefully they're coming out with a new reiteration this month that is better. I was, if I hyped it up, I didn't mean to, but I was hopeful. And like I said before, I've gone from being cautiously optimistic to cautiously pessimistic with this game. But last month, we know when we had the Alliance tournaments that it was basically a spender's paradise. Like, if you couldn't spend, you didn't really get very many points. Now, some people did, and there were a couple of the large ticket or spending points or items you could spend things for to get points. But for the most part, it was just sucking away your saved materials for not much of a reward, but mostly just spending, and even the spenders didn't spend. So rather than turn this into a complaining video about that, even though that still kind of burns, I'm hoping that this doesn't look anything like that, and that it's truly just participate, do your dailies, get some stuff along the way. It looks like that is what it's going to be geared toward when we look at some of the screenshots here. Upgrading to certain ops levels. Hopefully that's not the spend component that might be implemented in with this. And I know they have to make money, but it'd be nice to have something where engagement, right? That's what Scopely wants, because more engagement means more people are going to spend money. It's just what it is. But if you have people in the game, instead of frustrated with the game and leaving it because they don't want to deal with this BS anymore, you know, you got to have things like this. So hopefully this is something like right here, contributing to your alliance, sending alliance help so many times, looks like repair speed ups and so forth, and hopefully it scales up appropriately. Scopely hasn't had a good track record for things like that, so we will see. Cautiously pessimistic about this. So some of the rewards look pretty good. It may help players in lower levels. We'll just have to see how well it scales for everyone. As you watch this video, I would love to hear your comments about this. Is this something you're excited for? Feel free to leave them below. Also, as you experience this, I would invite you to either leave comments, come back to this video, leave some comments if you want to, or join my Discord. I always leave a link in my description down below, but feel free to join Discord and let's start talking about this. Tell me what you think of this. I always love to hear from players. I don't know how other people have multiple accounts. I can only manage one and do the content, but I love to hear from you all, 30, 40, 50 plus players, whatever. I like to hear from all ranges to let me know what you think and your perspective. So, okay, so that's that event. Let's move on. Field training update, new field trainings, which as of recording this video, I think they've put a pause on that because there's some kind of bug fixes or some bugginess to it, or it's lagginess. I'm not sure what it is, but they paused that while they're figuring things out. I do like that there is like these claim all buttons that they've added to this. I like that they've put sliders in the game, claim alls. We need more stuff like that so that doing my claims in the morning doesn't take me 30 minutes. That's 30 minutes I'm not even playing the game. I'm just doing claims. Okay, so more stuff like this, please, Scopely. Okay, let's look into that. And I know that doesn't add necessarily to your bottom line, but if you really think about it, engagement to the player base is what is going to add to your bottom line. And who wants to play a game where you're spending 30 minutes claiming stuff in the morning? Oh, for the love of Pete, fix that. Okay, so that's one thing I'd recommend in this video. Fleet Commander update. I don't know why. I noticed this on DJ's video. I made a comment, but they had put Fleet Commander Sloan, and I actually made a comment in my Alliance chat about Fleet Commander Sloan. I don't know why I did that. I don't know why DJ did that on his video. Hopefully they fixed that by now. But it's not Sloan. I don't know if it's the black jacket or if they look similar in the face in this getup that makes me think, but it's Lorca. It's definitely Lorca. We'll do another video. I'll try and do another video after I get some player feedback and talk to the community a little bit and do my own research, look at his skills. But he's supposed to be like the new meta for fleet commanders. Like he's supposed to be just awesome. I've looked at some of his abilities. It'll be interesting how it comes out because his, I believe his special ability for doing massive amounts of damage that only lasts for a certain amount of time, you have to have him in the first fleet commander slot, which by the way, let's hop into game real quick. This is worth just kind of looking at. Where is, that's weird. Why can't I access the fleet commanders? Like, it's not even there. Huh, see? Officers? Did they move that? Where's my fleet commander stuff? Okay, I'm gonna have to look into that. Maybe there was something wrong with that too, and they pulled it or push pause on it or something. So I apologize. Never know with this game. Okay, so we can't look at that, but when we looked at it this morning, they did add a new slot for fleet commanders. So there's an additional one, which probably means a pack to unlock that. I don't know. I'll have to look into that a little bit more, I suppose. So keep working on your fleet commanders. Keep getting that Syndicate XP. There's, I guess, a possibility of more levels for fleet commanders. I don't know, but Lorca needs to be in the first slot for his special ability to work. So there will be more shifting around. It does look like they adjusted the timer so that it's not 6 hours before, you know, once you pull a fleet commander off, that you can put them in another slot. So we'll have to see how that goes. I don't know if that means that you can only have one fleet commander in that first slot, and as they unlock more or release more, which I'm guessing they probably will based upon the little things they've said in videos and whatnot. My guess is they'll probably release more, but what I don't know is that first slot always going to be the slot where you have to put the fleet commander in for their special ability, or they can have some for the second, third slot, and so forth? My guess is probably the first slot is going to be like the special one that you'll have to swap out fleet commanders, but we will have to see. So more on that later. Okay, Nova Squadron building available to Ops 30 and above. I do like this because we have had multiple months where those in the 30 range have been like, dude, where's the content for me? And as games like this do progress, you do tend to see them releasing not just Star Trek, but other games where they release it only for the newest or those later in the game. So there's some debate about that we could have, but I do like that they've released something for 30 plus. Okay, shield hit points, damage, and cost efficiency for the facade, court of Q. Sorry, reading is hard. Sometimes command center, subspace relay, and holodeck. One thing I do like about this is that there are some efficiencies in the game for things like this. Like the command center, there's some efficiency, I believe, in the 50 plus area of the station tree. Not all of these have great efficiencies. Court of Q trials, before I got the Ferengi whip, which I know is a purchase, and not everyone has that option. The only way I really found I was progressing the Court of Q is I basically just didn't do the the Forbidden Tech events, and had to invest that in the building itself. So it really struggled without the Ferengi whip to level that building. So I like that this adds some efficiency for stuff like that. The command center, I worked really hard through the Borg events to unlock 7 of 9 fleet commander to get those extra, I think, quantum communicators, I think it is. The items to upgrade the building. What are these called again? Communicators, quantum communicators. I'm still working, trying to get it to 50 for some of the additional abilities. So adding some efficiency here is going to be helpful in game. So I look forward to that. So let me know what you think, but I think adding cost efficiency to stuff like that will help people to get their buildings leveled up for some of those abilities later on. So that, I think, is great for everyone. G6 solo armadas. When I first heard this, I'm like, why do they need solos? But then immediately it dawned on me, is like, yeah, there's probably not that many people in the G6 area. Myself, I'm not quite there. Still trying to get to 60, which I'll probably sit at to do research and work on my Enterprise D. But that's a pain in the butt to get from 59 to 60. So I'm not quite there either. Spenders really going there, and I don't know how difficult it is in that area without spending too much. I hear even with some of the stuff they've had in the game that's still kind of difficult, so planning may be needed. So anyways, Ops 61 plus, but for you, Ops 61 plus, this is a good thing. It's going to add additional armadas that you can do, especially if you're on a server that doesn't have many G6 players. Faction credits, refined materials, ship parts, Sigma resources, and speed ups. I've seen a number of Ops 60 plus, 61 plus, I should say, that just aren't building or researching things because they don't have the speed ups. At least that's my impression. So that's what it looks like. Solar Armada Directives, Hazard Particles, and Galactic Acclaim. So good stuff for the G6. So is there a lot of content in this arc? Absolutely. But it seems like they're offering different things, and I kind of like that in a way. I like when they offer stuff to try and appease to people of different levels. The one kind of thing that jumps in my mind is it all going to work correctly? So Scopely really doesn't have a good track record as far as releasing content that that works. And then when you have multiple things, you just worry that something's going to break. At least I do. So, and look at this screenshot. 500,000. Who has that? It's probably a Scopely account. 500,000 directives, lots and lots of goodies there. So. Players will see 15 new nodes add to the hazard section of G6 combat tree. So that's in the symbiosis update. Time efficiency for buildings research and ship repairs. Officer attack, defense, and health, which is good to help with meeting your ship stats so you can get those bonuses. Hazard resistance for G6 surveyors, that's good. and G6 specific combat buff. So adding more stuff for G6 can help make it more effective or more efficient and not so costly. So if you're a G6 player, you see this and it's helpful to you, please let me know. I'd love to hear and learn from you all as well. Okay, let's see. We're looking at artifacts. So I really like artifacts because they add a lot to the game and can really help you out. The trick is going to be unlocking them and whether they're pay to play or not, or free to play, if there will be an option for that. So I don't mind there being pay only, but if there's a free to play path, hopefully that's going to be an option. And I didn't mention this earlier, but it looks like Lorca is going to be Fleet Commander Lorca is going to be pay only, and that they're going to have some free to play path, but we're gonna have to see how that works out. Once again, they want to make it pay to play only for the first few months. I'm fine with that, but let's have a path. And they're also supposed to release a path for other fleet commanders. As far as I know, Janeway is the only one that does not have a free to play path in the game, so hopefully they'll release that, and maybe additional options for the others, because there's some that you can only unlock during certain times or certain events, certain times of the month, or certain events. So let's see, tricorder here, isolate damage increase, and then it has increased G4 to G6 materials and resources cost efficiency for buildings by up to 150%. Anytime you can get building efficiency, which I am desperate for right now, this would be a great thing to be able to unlock. Whether it's worth it to spend $100 if it's in the pay only store, then that's another question, but I like that. Got the phaser here, apex barrier, lots of apex barrier benefits there, while burning, having morale, or hull breach. So good stuff there. This one is interesting. Max cargo, building construction speed by up to 200%. So that's great. I think the construction speed, having things like that, as well as cost efficiencies, they're always good things. Okay, forbidden tech. Player feedback on this one increases warp range. I remember watching a video early on, probably when I was in my 30s, somewhere in the 30 range. And someone big from Scopely had come on and said, well, we only want people to have a certain warp range because we don't want them to get into fighting some hostiles they can't handle. I'm like, what's the point? I mean, if I can't kill a hostile, then I've got to know that I can't kill it. I'm smart enough to figure that out. So I think that's stupid, but I like seeing more warp range. A critical hit chance by 20%, up to 20%. Decreases opponent shield mitigation every round by up to 25%. That's interesting. Increases base shield health by up to 4,000%. So as they keep releasing more forbidden tech, which I think is great in the game too, they have released more options for things like protomatter and enteric catalyst, but hopefully it's enough that you're able to focus on the ones that you're able to unlock as they come up with more ways to do that. Okay, Epic, the Jas Tolera increases loot by 60, 20, 40% as the captain's maneuver, and officer ability is increase weapon shots by 100% against armadas and invading entities, cumulative. So that's looks pretty good to me. I know that a couple people in the community have said how this is kind of like a 5 of 11. I did look up here on stfc.space, which thank you STFC that you have this right away, first thing. So increases base loot gain from armadas and hostiles by 60%. This is basically, let's see, Enterprise E Picard, 60% of base and by 60%. So I don't know if it works the same way or not. There would have to do some testing, but similar to loot crews we have in the game. So is she better than Picard? She would have to do some testing, but increasing weapon shots by a certain percentage, where Picard's officer ability is isolated cascade damage. So that just depends, but it'll be interesting as we see that tears up from 30 to 100% at max. what kind of sourcing that will be able to be, but another loot officer in the game. It looks like the only one currently that is totally, which we'll talk about in just a minute, that would give 100%, which is basically the same as Picard with Enterprise E data. So that's 100% there as well. This is only the first month, so they could add more officers, but it could be a second loot crew for you. There's different places you could probably use that. Depending upon your 511, mine is max, so I got 100% from 511, so it doesn't replace my 511, but the initial look at it, you know, it's probably an option for people. And some people don't have Enterprise or ePicard, so this may be something that you're worth looking into. So let me know if that's something that you're looking at and is of interest to you. Let's see, officer ability for Toli lowers all Armada invading entities mitigation stats by a certain percentage. This seems to work like 6 of 11. Below deck ability increasing warp speed, so getting to those farther systems quicker is actually pretty interesting. And I don't know what the sourcing is going to be like for Toli, if that's a paid only option, if you'll be able to earn the shards in one way or another this month. We'll have to see. So Toli is kind of like 6 of 11. One thing I'm not big on is this officer defense. My experience in the game has been that defense is one of the hardest stats to max. And so it will depend upon your officers and how we can get this, because it's not a flat percentage. Remember, this is of officer defense. How much defense your bridge officers and below deck officers have. And then any research you might have that increases that. So that's interesting, but it does give another 5-6 type of a combination for your bridge crew for another ship, if that's something that you're looking at. So just interesting. Don't miss these here for Ops 10 to 29. There's this code Rogue, and it looks like they're both 5 epic Tolra shards. And you get Syndicate XP if you're in the 10 to 29 range, and you get Nova Squadron Starfleet Honors, which we'll probably talk about in another video, if you're Ops 30 plus. So Renegade if you're 30 plus, and Rogue if you are in the 10 to 29 range. Okay, so symbiosis missions, won't go into that. Battle pass and cosmetics. One thing I will mention before we close the video is that it's interesting that it's a new battle pass. So my understanding is that I wonder if they got a bunch of like just people hating this and backlash from it, but when they went with 2 battle passes last month, they just have 1 this month. And I don't know materials, how it compares with 2 months ago when we had just the 1 battle pass as opposed to having 2 last month. But hopefully this is a good thing. Hopefully the materials and whatnot we're getting out of the 1 battle pass are still good and will help us advance our operations, our ships, our research, what have you. But I like to see that they're back to 1. A lot of people didn't really like that 2 last month. So anyways, that's a quick look, and we'll do some other videos this month to look a little bit more at the officers and just some different things that as we see this month. But I'm interested to see what you all think. Please leave your comments below. Anyways, I wanted to thank you all for your great and kind support. Hopefully this information is helpful. There's some good stuff in here, assuming everything works right. I think for players in different ops levels, op ranges, there's obviously components for the pay only as well as those free to play or mostly free to play. So hopefully there's some good stuff in here regardless of what operations level you are. Once again, thanks so much for your support, and we'll talk to you next time.